provide necessary support to all families and citizens who lost their loved ones. Unfortunately, there has been many instances of excessive, unlawful, dangerous, and harmful conduct during the demonstrations and engagements, as a consequence of which many persons have been arrested and charged in courts with various offenses. I urge the criminal justice agencies to take effective measures and ensure that people who may have been innocently caught up on the wrong side of things and those not implicated in crimes be released and charges against them withdrawn. This will enable the agencies to focus their resources, efforts, and time in investigating and prosecuting serious criminal elements who took advantage of peaceful demonstrations to advance a dangerous agenda of lawlessness, anarchy, and mayhem. It is important that these suspects are brought to book and that they are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I also take this opportunity to affirm the constitutional authority and duty vested on our national security institutions to protect our country against internal and external threats to sovereignty, to lives of our people, our rights, freedoms, property, peace, stability, and prosperity, as well as our collective national interest. Consequently, I call on the National Police Service to use its mandate responsibly, professionally, and effectively in full compliance with the Constitution, with a view to promoting the national objectives of Article 238, 239, and 244 of our Constitution. All breaches and violations by police officers must be handled expeditiously through due process, with a view to giving Kenyans a police service that upholds the highest standards of integrity. As citizens of this great nation, we all have a duty to balance our rights and responsibilities at all times, so that the legitimate exercise of our rights and freedoms does not undermine our broader aspirations to remain a civilized, democratic, and peaceful country governed under the rule of law and institutions of governance for the benefit of all of us. Over the last 1 month, the livelihoods and property of many innocent people have also been destroyed, plunging them into destitution and jeopardizing the welfare of their dependents. The government of Kenya will equally take measures to support these Kenyans on the path to recovery of their businesses. I direct the relevant ministries to obtain, verify, and provide accurate data to facilitate appropriate government action within the next 30 days. I want to give the people of Kenya an assurance that our government listens to them, and that for the last 1 month, I have led the government in engaging and listening to citizens from all walks of life as they express themselves in different forums and on various platforms. What has emerged as the foremost national concern requiring urgent and decisive action is the vexing matter of corruption and the non-negotiable desire for accountable leadership and integrity in governance. I have this to say to Kenyans. I have heard you, and I have heard you clearly. Consequently, the following measures shall be taken to accelerate progress to achieving the objectives stated by the people. Number one, I will be proposing amendments to the Evidence Act and the Criminal Procedure Code, among other necessary legislative amendments to all statutes relating to corruption, to expedite investigations and prosecution of corruption and economic crimes cases, and provide for their conclusion within 6 months. We shall also be proposing amendments to the Witness Protection Act to overhaul the statutory and institutional framework to protect and incentivize whistleblowers and enhance witness protection, making it easier and safer for citizens to come forward and report corruption as well as other criminal activities. Number three, within 90 days, we shall propose amendments to the Public Finance Management Act and Public Procurement and Disposal Acts to overhaul the institutional and operational framework of public procurement, which has been identified as the epicenter of corruption, conflict of interest, and abuses of office in the public sector, with a view to deploying digital infrastructure within the next 6 months. The aim of this measure is to provide an open and transparent public procurement platform which gives open, real-time, and end-to-end public visibility of public procurement from advertisement to award of contract, and to whom it is awarded and what amount the people of Kenya will pay. Number four, I have engaged with the parliamentary leadership and asked Parliament to expeditiously pass the Conflict of Interest Bill with the explicit caveat that I shall veto any bill enacted if it does not establish the highest bar with respect to accountability, integrity, and anti-corruption. I will make full use of the power given to me under Article 115 of the Constitution to make sure that the bill meets the appropriate standards set out in the original bill. Number five, while fully respecting the independence of the national justice, law, and order institutions, and pursuant to a commitment to consult and collaborate in leveraging their institutional capabilities in effective, expeditious, and conclusive investigations in respect of all active cases, it is essential for these institutions to provide a time frame to the people of Kenya, because that is what the people of Kenya want, within which proceedings shall be concluded, and the same timelines clearly communicated to the public. Number six, about 400 billion shillings is spent on tax expenditure every year, especially on VAT refunds, a process that is largely opaque and with limited accountability. Within 90 days, I will be working with Parliament to provide a legislative and regulatory framework to make this process transparent, open, and accountable, with a view to reducing this huge public expenditure and direct savings from this exercise to the productive sectors of our economy. This is going to be a very important exercise of engaging Parliament in consultations with the people as to whether it is right for us to spend 400 billion Kenya shillings every year collected from the people of Kenya to pay a few companies on matters of VAT refund. Number 7, the government will also work with Parliament to tighten legislation to reduce and eliminate imports of goods and products already manufactured in Kenya, so as to promote our value addition, our manufacturing, and industrialization program in our quest to create more jobs, create more opportunities, and create wealth in our nation. We must have a national conversation as to whether we want to be a supermarket for products from other countries, or we want to produce products that we already have manufacturing capacity in Kenya. In my last address to the nation, I undertook to consult a broad spectrum of stakeholders from all sectors, levels, and regions in order to constitute a broad-based government. In line with this undertaking, I will be forwarding additional names to Parliament for vetting prior to appointment based on the understanding of the Cabinet's essential role in driving the transformational agenda that makes Kenya a better, more just, and more prosperous nation for all of us. Once constituted, the new cabinet will steward our transformation agenda that is already in place in providing effective and efficient public services, expanding opportunities for employment and wealth creation, and creating a tide that lifts every boat. Our collective ambition is to turbocharge the performance of our economy to achieve our universal health coverage, which ensures that no one is left behind or impoverished on account of healthcare costs. Also offer an equitably funded education system which looks out for learners from vulnerable backgrounds and ensure that Kenyans from all walks of life live in safe and dignified housing through our affordable housing program. Additionally, our transformation agenda commits to provide reliable clean water, last-mile connectivity of electricity, and to secure more business opportunities for enterprises and employment opportunities for our young people, both here at home and abroad. Our explicit aim is to transform Kenya into a middle-income society, and it is essential for us to urgently mobilize adequate resources to fund these necessary programs and projects. Consequently, after extensive consultations, I have nominated the following persons for consideration and approval by the National Assembly for appointment as Cabinet Secretaries. I commend the leadership of diverse organizations, both in public and private sectors, including political parties, for their encouraging response to my outreach to consult on forming a broad-based government. Their willingness to set aside partisan positions and interests in order to join a visionary partnership for the radical transformation of Kenya is a historic gesture of their patriotism. I know and I understand acutely the huge expectation of the people of Kenya on me and this administration. And I equally understand that that responsibility can be made easier if we work together as a nation. And as I said, the opportunity we have to work together across political lines, across different divisions, is much more greater than the challenge and the crisis we have in our hands. I take this opportunity to express my appreciation for their commitment and reiterate my pledge to engage alongside them in a national conversation that is inclusive, citizen-centered, and aimed at consolidating and accelerating the actualization of inclusive growth and national transformation. As I take this step, and as I expand and broaden this administration, I am acutely aware that the responsibility of managing the affairs of the country vested in the cabinet, in the expanded cabinet, will require of us to work together and to focus on that which brings honor to our country. I will shortly give you the list of my nominees. Just hold your horses. Just hold your horses. Great. Oops. That's the old list again. Where did it disappear? I think this is a problem of making it very confidential and not allowing many people to have a look at it. As you're all aware, the list I sent to the National Assembly, I have since amended so that Roslinda Soipan-Tuya now goes to the Ministry of Defense. The Honorable Aden Bare-Duale moves to Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry. I have now forwarded the name of John Mbadi Ngongo to the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning. Salim Mvuria Mgala, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. Ms. Rebecca Miano, Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. The Honorable James Opio Wandai, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. the Honorable Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, the Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, the Honorable Dr. Alfred Nganga Mutua, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, the Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, Ministry of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development, the Honorable Justin Bidan Njoka Muturi, Ministry of Public Service and Human Capital Development, Madam Stella Soy Langat, Ministry of Gender, Culture, Arts and Heritage. I am still working on the other pending nominees, and I will be announcing them shortly. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless our great nation, Kenya. Asanteni sana.
State House, President William Ruto has nominated new members to his cabinet, and interestingly, 4 names of leaders from the opposition have featured in this particular new list. Talk about John Mbadi, who is now nominated to the Ministry of National Treasury and Planning. Hassan Joho, the former county governor for Mombasa, nominated to the Ministry of Mining. James Opiyo Wandayi, who is the minority leader of the National Assembly, nominated to the Ministry of Energy. And Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, who's the former Kakamega County Governor, nominated to the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSMEs, that is Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. And so that is the news that is coming in from State House, where Joho, Mbadi, Oparanya, Wandayi in the new cabinet. Those are opposition leaders, and indeed, true to the word of political gossip, the opposition has now featured in this particular government of Kenya Kwanza government. In addition to that, Salim Mvurya has been nominated to the Ministry of Investments and Trade. Rebecca Miano, who had previously been nominated to the position of Attorney General, has been nominated to the Ministry of Tourism. We have Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen, who's the previous Cabinet Secretary for Roads, nominated to the Ministry of Youth and Sports Affairs. Dr. Alfred Mutua, nominated to the Ministry of Labor. Justin Muturi, the former Attorney General, nominated to the Ministry of Public Service. And Stella Soy, I believe, nominated to the Ministry of Gender Affairs. So news just in, President William Ruto has nominated 4 opposition leaders to cabinet secretary positions of his executive arm of government. John Mbadi is now a nominee for the National Treasury and Planning Ministry. Talk about James Opiyo Wandayi, the minority leader of the National Assembly, nominated to the Ministry of Energy. Hassan Joho, the former county governor for Mombasa County, nominated to the Ministry of Mining, as well as Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, the former Kakamega County governor, nominated to the Ministry of Cooperatives, Small, Medium Enterprises. Any minute from now, those lower thirds on your screen will be changing, just to feature some of these key names that I've been able to tell you who are now part of this new broad-based government, if approved by the National Assembly. Now, the big question you're asking is, some of these leaders on this particular list are elected leaders. That includes John Mbadi and James Opio Wandai. This will now mean they'll have to forfeit those particular positions that they hold. They will have to resign officially to the Speaker of the National Assembly through a communication to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, who will then communicate this. And this will now pave way for by-elections in those two constituencies to which they are members of parliament too. So I'd love us to once again listen into just that address by President William Ruto that ended a short while ago, to which he further also announced new austerity measures, including the amendment of Evidence Act to expedite prosecution of corruption cases, the amendment of the Witness Protection Act to protect whistleblowers, the amendment of the Public Finance Management Act to overhaul policies of public procurement, parliamentary leadership as well to quickly pass the Conflict of Interest Bill, as well as the government in collaboration with the legislator will be able to tighten legislation to reduce imports of goods manufactured in Kenya. And he says, why should Kenya be a supermarket? Or why should Kenya make other countries a supermarket, basically, if we can manufacture our own goods here, right here in Kenya? So I'd love us to listen yet again to what the head of state just previously ended his speech about. That is on austerity measures as well as the new cabinet nominees to the executive.
An industry, Ms. Rebecca Miano, Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, the Honorable James Opio Wandai, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, the Honorable Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, the Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, the Honorable Dr. Alfred Nganga Mutua, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, the Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, Ministry of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Development, the Honorable Justin Bidan Njoka Muturi, Ministry of Public Service and Human Capital Development, Madam Stella Soy Langat, Ministry of Gender, Culture, Arts and Heritage. I am still working on the other pending nominees, and I will be announcing them shortly. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless our great nation, Kenya. Asanteni sana.
All right, so that was just a repeat of the State of the Nation address that the head of state has just stated recently, or has been able to make recently from State House, being flaunted by the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, as well as the Prime Cabinet Secretary and the Cabinet Secretary-in-Chief, by the way, that is Musalia Mudavadi. He's currently in position of spearheading and heading all CS positions before they can get new appointees in those particular positions. However, just a recap of the CS's, Cabinet Secretary for Defense nominee is Soipan Tuya, previously from the Ministry of Forestry. Eden Dwale reshuffled to the Environment, Forestry and Climate Change Ministry. John Mbadi nominated to the Ministry of National Treasury and Planning. Salim Mvurya nominated to the Ministry of Investment and Trade. Rebecca Miano, who had been previously nominated to the Attorney General, her name conspicuously missing from that communication to Parliament, has now been nominated to the Ministry of Tourism. James Opio Wandai, this is a name that you've obviously seen across the news, the minority leader of the opposition party, now nominated to the Ministry of Energy. Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen takes charge of Babu Namwamba's previous ministry at the Youth and Sports Affairs. Hassan Joho, the former county governor for Mombasa County, nominated to the Ministry of Mining. Dr. Alfred Mutua nominated to the Ministry of Labor. Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, former Kakamega County governor, nominated to the Ministry of Cooperatives, Small and Medium Enterprises, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, yes, MSMEs. Justin Muturi, the former Attorney General, nominated to the Ministry of Public Service, and Stella Soy nominated to the Ministry of Gender. So that is the news that we are getting in from State House. And of course, this will receive various reactions, mixed, you call it, from the public concerning just what they had expected and what they got. Normally, there's a famous meme that goes, what you order versus what you get. Well, this is basically that kind of scenario, and we'll wait to see what the people have to say, what their views, their thoughts are concerning this particular new cabinet. And the question on these elected leaders who have been nominated, that includes John Mbadi and Opiyo Wandayi. Well, as I've said earlier, they'll have to resign officially through a communication to the Speaker of the National Assembly. And that now means the Speaker will declare those particular seats vacant. By-elections have to be held in these constituencies. And then, if approved by the vetting committee of the National Assembly, they will take charge as Cabinet Secretary for various positions. By-elections is a whole new question on whether or not the IBC at this moment is capacitated enough to conduct by-elections, considering that there are no commissioners in place. However, that is the normal procedure. They will have to resign from their particular offices, and that means a new minority leader as well will have to be nominated by the ODM party in the National Assembly. So that is where we leave it at that point. We are following up on various news stories pardon me, across the country. Thank you for watching.